Welcome to episode 10 of Curious Conversations. We've hit double digits.
Mad.
Myself and Aiden, we're going to do a little life hacks episode, and we're going to go one for one. Things that help us throughout our day or throughout our week that we feel people can go away and take action on. We had a couple of things we said in the last couple of podcasts, or last 9 podcasts, that people have actually been able to go away and implement. And that's what this is really for as well. People learning certain things, take it away, implement. If it works for them, it works for them. If it doesn't, it doesn't. First one, I'll go first.
Go for it.
And this is to do with my sleep. And this is a funny one that I get slagged for quite often. Like from my pals, etc., people who know this about me. But when I go to sleep, I wear an eye mask and I wear mouth tape. So I tape my mouth up, I wear an eye mask to go to sleep, and it helps my sleep massively. One thing for mouth tape is a few people that I've spoke to and they've tried it, I've been like, I couldn't do it the first night because you get a little bit panicky because they're breathing through their nose for the first time. So what I recommend doing if you've never had mouth tape on before is do it throughout the day, practice throughout the day first. So if you're like, I don't know, doing the dishes or not brushing your teeth. Not brushing your hair,
bro. Brushing your hair, you meant to say.
Brushing your moustache.
Yes, I do that.
So if you're just doing daily tasks throughout the day, put mouth tape on to practice breathing through your nose. And it's not just to have mouth tape on. Like, we are naturally supposed to breathe through our nose. There's so much data behind it. I actually listened to a podcast with Andrew Huberman who talked about it a lot. There's also a book called Breathe that talks about it a lot that Drew was talking about. And yeah, it's massively proven that nasal breathing is so much better for sleeping, and it has helped me massively get into a deeper sleep, get more REM sleep. So yeah, an eye mask is obviously just to lessen the light that's in the room, no matter like where you're at. Unless you have a completely dark room like blackout blinds, that's fine. But if you don't and there's some light that gets in, it will still affect your sleep. So eye mask and mouth tape, both really cheap. To be fair, I literally use my mouth tape. It's called micro pore tape from Amazon, and it's like 4 rolls. One roll lasts you like 2 months, and it's like £8 or something like that. And it's a huge investment. So for sleep.
Do you see the difference, like when you don't use it?
Yeah.
100%.
So
what would you say the kind of side effects are when you don't use it?
Breathe through my mouth.
And
I wake up and I have a dry mouth. See that dry mouth when you get up when you wake up. So I actually stayed at my mum's last week and forgot to bring the mouth tape. So I woke up in the morning, dry mouth, and I just
feel groggy.
My face as well. I felt like my face was a little bit more puffy in the morning. I don't know if that's from breathing in and out through my mouth instead of my nose. So yeah, that was a big one.
That's class, because I don't do that, if I'm honest. I'll be honest, but I'm super aware of like breathing through my nose. I really like focus on trying to breathe through my nose as much as I possibly can. I'm actually thinking about ordering that as soon as we're finished this, just because there's times where I do wake up and I'm like, oh, my mouth's like pure dry, and I'm like, how can I stop this? And then obviously you saying that mouth tape takes a little bit, would you say? Takes a little bit to get the hang of.
Yep.
But I think I'm going to try that.
Let's do it.
Class. Right, so moving on to my first one. Something that our good friend Dale Burke has put me onto, and I've only kind of started using it since I've kind of been at Sin. I've used it kind of intermittently. Intermittently before I joined Sin, but I've actually kind of started to pick it up a little bit more now that kind of Dale spoke to me about it, and he tells me that he does it all the time just to kind of help him structure his day. And that is to-do lists. I think that a lot of the time I'll maybe let's see if I've not done a to-do list. I feel like my brain is all over the place. Like, there's so much things to do. Like, you know yourself, like you've got a business outside of Sin, you've got things to do within Sin, you've got content to make, things like that, and it's just like sometimes it can get quite overwhelming. So when you put it down on a sheet of paper, the actual things that you need to do, I feel like it helps you so much more, and it kind of clears your mind, because I feel like you play in your head like so much more things than you actually need to do, if that makes sense. Like you feel like, oh, I need to do this thing, I need to do this, I need to do this, and then you put it on a sheet of paper and you're like, it's actually not that much.
Yeah.
Like you put something down that you think is going to take you like 2 hours, and actually if you put it down on a piece of paper and you see it, probably take you like 25-30 minutes to do. So to-do lists are a huge thing that I've taken away, and as I say, it settles my mind and makes me feel a little bit more kind of in place and a little bit more structured. So yeah, that's probably how a to-do list helps me out. Do you use a to-do list?
So I do. I use a task list as well. Like Dale, I had a KPI with Dale the other day, and he showed me how he does it though, and I'm going to change it to that. I think because I've got like a big task list on my notes on my phone, and I just like go into it, and I'm like, right, I need to do that today. I need to do that today, and sometimes things get missed, and whereas Dale has like the tasks like listed out, right, this.
Like in an order.
And my big sister Rachel, she does the exact same. I remember that I coached her 1-to-1, and I remember seeing her daily like organisation list on her phone. Like she had notes on her phone, but she had like what it was and how long it would take, like for the next like 5 days. She's like so organised, and I remember thinking like that must be like so good to have.
It just clears your mind.
Yeah, it clears your mind. It does, because I'm so right. Like you're so right. When I don't do it, I feel the effects of it. My brain just feels really busy, and I feel like, oh, I've got so much stuff to do, and
Totally.
usually you don't, or it's not that important that day that it can be put off. So that's a massive thing. And my next life hack, which I'm going to go into, is very goes on the back of that, and that's Google Calendar.
Yep.
It's more of a digital life hack, but Google Calendar has saved my life. It was actually David Hatt, a good pal of Ryan and Dale's, who I got it off of when I'm sure I got it off Instagram or something when I first started coaching, and I started using it, and it genuinely changed my life as to how much I can fit in my day, because I put it, so I do it so that I fill at the start of the week on a Sunday. I'll fill all the times that I'm working, all the times that I'm training, and then you start to see all the spaces, all the white space out with, that you can spend your time doing certain things that you value.
So would you structure that every single Sunday? You would do Monday to Sunday?
Yeah.
That Sunday? Does that make sense? Cool, because I sometimes think like I do Google Calendar as well, again, kind of intermittently. But something that I've been really like, wanting to pick up. But sometimes I feel like maybe like 2-3 days is a little bit better for me.
Yeah.
What would you say that's down to? Is that
I don't know,
just
but
maybe not doing it as much?
So I used to get a little bit too meticulous with it, where every single hour would be like, right, I have to be that there, I have to be that there.
Drink water, things like that.
Like too meticulous with it. But now I leave more white space to be a little bit more fluid with it, so that I have more space to do that thing that I want to do.
So it's not like pure robotic.
Yeah, because although like that probably would be very time efficient, it just doesn't work in my brain. It doesn't work with me to do that. I've tried it in the past, being like, right, 6 till 7 I'm doing this, 7 till 7:30 I'm doing this, so on and so forth. Like it's good to have a brief structure, but if, like life happens and your things are going to take a little bit longer. Sometimes they're going to be a little bit less, but yeah, Google Calendar, massive game changer. Put in certain tasks and I colour them a certain way as well, just so that I know, like work for example, that's just like a grey when I'm coaching, etc. But yeah, it's a game changer.
So is that again like, see when you don't do the Google Calendar, you feel it, you feel that kind of that emotional overwhelm, and you feel like you can't really get to grasps with your day as much?
Well, honestly, mate, like I don't not do it anymore. It's just became like a habit, because in the past I've not done it, and my weeks, I just feel like my week falls away from me.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
So that's it's genuinely is a habit that I've implemented, trying to do non-stop.
Right. So moving into the next one. This is a little bit more kind of on the mental side of things, but I wanted to kind of touch up on it because I've been really trying to focus on it, and it's kind of reshaped the way I kind of go about my day. So I'd consider it a life hack, and that is kind of not allowing your emotions to dictate your actions. And that's basically just like, for example, if the weather is rain, it's raining outside, and you don't like the rain. I'm saying that because like some people out there might like the rain. It's your perception at the end of the day, and you feel like you're feeling a little bit shitty that day. Things aren't going to plan and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of the time when that happens, people put off what they're actually meant to be doing. So it's like it's a terrible day outside. Maybe you've got hundreds of things to do, and that means that you can kind of feel like you can slack off training, and that is basically an example of allowing emotions to dictate your actions. And I feel like the more and more I've not been allowing that, I've not been allowing my kind of emotions to dictate what I do, I've just seen so much more improvement in my life, if that makes sense. So like if I set out to train that day or do a session or do a piece of work, I'm doing that no matter how I feel. And before I maybe found myself like, oh, I feel like shit today, that can hold off. Like I don't need to do that day because I'm feeling this certain way, if that makes sense. And just kind of reshaping the way I think and the way I approach my day, and that mentality is helped me like tenfold. So it's something that's really important, and I would consider a life hack. It's like kind of mental life hack. So yeah,
100%. Like we're all emotional beings,
totally.
and if you constantly like act in the way you feel in the moment, you're always not going to get shit done that you want to. And
1,000,000%.
A way that I learned from a past coach was always act like the you tomorrow. So act it as if you're looking back at yourself in the future. See if you're like, oh, I'll do that training session tomorrow. Oh, I'll meal prep tomorrow. It comes to tomorrow, and the you of tomorrow is thinking, fuck you, yesterday me.
Yeah, yesterday said you would do it tomorrow. Yeah. Yesterday you said you would do it tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's where that ties in a lot with like self-respect, like everything. Like that's when you start not doing the things you said you were going to do. That's when the self-confidence, self-respect in yourself starts to dip, and that's when you start feeling shit about yourself and go down that kind of rabbit hole.
It is a complete rabbit hole, and I feel like I've maybe went down that kind of rabbit hole before myself. Like it's we speak about it so much. Like you've got stacked evidence that you are the person you say you are. Like that's just giving you stacked evidence that you're not the person that you say you are, and that's what kind of like wipes your confidence from you, because you're not doing the things that you said you were going to do to people or to yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, mate, changing that for me has been such a life hack, and I feel like the more and more you lean into that, the better your days get.
Yep. And it's a journey of it as well. Like you're not going to go from like tomorrow I'm going to just stop doing that. Like I still do it. You still do it. Like you get days where you are feeling a certain way, and you will put things off. But the more you don't do that, the more you back up what you say you're going to do, it starts to dissipate that a little bit more, and you get a momentum.
Totally, 100%. It was kind of similar to the post that I posted on Monday as well, like the kind of micro shifts before, like micro shifts over the breakthrough, because everyone's kind of looking for that breakthrough, that kind of, like, boom, that's my life changed. That's it. I wake up, I'm a different person, and it never comes. It never comes, and there's a reason why it never comes, because you've not put in the work to get there, if that makes sense. Like you've not done the kind of small reps, and that's exactly what it takes to get there. And for this example, it's the choosing to do the workout even though you maybe didn't feel great that day. You know, that's the evidence that builds that confidence.
100%. That leads into my next one. I mentioned this on the previous one, but it kind of ties in, and a lot of people usually take value from this because it's such a massive habit, and it's something that's really changed like my life in the morning, and that is having an alarm clock. It's literally like such a simple thing. You can get them a £5 or something off Amazon, £10, whatever it is, and having like a physical alarm clock that isn't your phone, and having the rule of not allowing your phone in the bedroom. It's going to help your sleep. It's going to help you stop you snoozing in the morning, like snoozing your alarm and it going off every 10 minutes constantly. It's also going to help you not scroll on your phone in the morning as soon as you get up. Like that's such a hard thing not to do in the moment, is to like you can easily say, oh, I'm not going to scroll in the morning, like I'm going to stop that tomorrow. But if you're already in the habit of doing it, it's so hard to not do it.
Totally.
it's thinking about future you, and buying an alarm clock, having that set up in your room, is a cheap investment, but it's a massive investment. And that rule of not having your phone in your room is a huge one.
Totally. So many people that I feel like this before. Like I still use my phone to. I'll be honest. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I still use my phone for my alarm clock, but
Why?
I know, bro, it's unacceptable. But I see, because I'm so aware of those things, like what you're just speaking about right there. Like I just don't. I don't do it. But I feel like people should get an alarm clock, and I'm actually gonna buy one. I'm gonna buy one after this podcast.
It's got paid.
Practice what you preach. But yeah, I think that it's especially harder, like, because see if you've got like notifications coming up from like the night before,
Yeah.
and then you look like to turn off your alarm and you see like so and so's texted you, like you're like, oh shit, I need to reply to that, and you just subconsciously just go straight to the phone and straight texting them back, and you're like, oh fuck, I'm scrolling through TikTok.
Yeah.
So it's like it's so easy to do, but you do need to make sure that is, if you're that type of person that needs that goes on their phone and scrolls as soon as they wake up, then an alarm clock is definitely needed, and keeping the phone out of the room is 100% needed as well. So, moving into this one is one that is seriously valued for me and you, and that is journaling. I've went through a lot of like kind of like tactics and how to journal. I've always, like, we speak about it quite a lot, and I actually was speaking to Ryan about this, and I invested in the 6 minute diary, and ever since I've started using that, it just makes me feel so much better coming into my day. I'll do that, so my morning routine will be wake up, get my electrolytes, have my coffee, and I'll go straight to my journal. And the questions are: what are you grateful for? What is going to make today great? And like an aphorism of sorts. And ever since doing that, it's just helped me so much. Like having that gratitude at the start of the day, it just makes me feel so much better, because you're thinking about the things you're grateful for. You're thinking about everything that is good in your life, and I feel like a lot of the time I maybe don't think about that enough.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people should start to. What is your? Because you've got the 6 minute diary.
I've got the 6 minute diaries, but it's filled out though, so I don't use that anymore.
But you've got different like questions that you ask yourself.
So mine's is pretty similar, to be fair, what I use on a daily basis, and that is gratitude list in the morning. So 3 things, the exact same, bringing awareness to what I'm grateful for. Next one is, how am I feeling right now? And that could be depending on how I'm actually feeling. Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling tired? Am I feeling amazing? Am I feeling energetic about the day? And then the question after that is, why am I feeling this way? And then it usually stems back to me bringing awareness as to what have I done. So if I'm tired, or I went on my phone late last night, or I didn't switch off last night. So it just brings awareness as to
there's always that
why
kind of reason you can link it to.
Why you're feeling a certain way, because they're usually, and you do usually know why. Like if you do ask yourself why, especially when you're journaling, you're not talking to anyone else, you're just talking to you on a piece of paper. Like that's the power of journaling, really. It's like having a conversation with yourself, really, getting the thoughts out on paper. And then after that, it's just a free flow. So free flow's a different way of journaling, and this, for me, it's anywhere between like 30 seconds to 5, can be 10 minutes. And that's just like a free flow as to what's on my mind right now. It usually stems from the question before, like, why am I feeling this way? And then it's more of a just write down whatever I'm thinking at that moment in time about that.
Totally. I think the free flow is so important. I actually done that this morning, because there was a big huge space in my 6 minute diary, and I just wanted to completely clear it, because I had a lot of things that I wanted to put out there, because I've been feeling really, really good recently. And we spoke about this last night and this morning about why that is, and I feel like that's down to me focusing more on like kind of self-love and kind of being your own best friend. I feel like it's so crazy, like, to think, like, see the way you speak to yourself as a self-deprivating person. I feel like you would never speak to like a family member or a best friend the way you speak to yourself sometimes,
Yeah.
the way I speak to myself anyway. And when I heard that, I was like, nah, like I'm the person that I'm spending the most time with every single day. So why don't I just make that an enjoyable experience for myself? Like that's one thing that's been like making me feel so much better for the past like few weeks is kind of really being aware of my self love and kind of giving myself that, because I feel like before, I was aware, but I wasn't actually like doing anything about it. I wasn't like snapping. I wasn't like cutting off the negative thoughts. Like if I was to say something in my head, I was just kind of acknowledging that I was saying it. I wasn't actually like nipping it in the bud and like challenging it.
Yeah.
Like I like now I'm like, maybe if a negative thought comes to my brain, I'm like, no, that isn't true. Like for example, if I think in my head, oh, I'm not a good person, I'm a piece of shit or something like that, but no, that's not true. Because I truly believe that, and the more and more I do that, the more and more I start to believe it.
Yeah.
So it's that's one thing I wrote on my journal this morning on like the kind of whole free throw, and as soon as I done it, I just like felt like such a good feeling, because I read it out loud to myself once I finished.
Yep.
And that's probably one of the biggest kind of helpers and biggest life hacks that I use as journaling, because it makes me feel so much better.
100%. And going back to being your own best friend, that's something that
Totally.
like I agree with so much. It's I remember reading about this a study done, and the question was, what's the most important relationship you ever have in your life? And everyone always says wife, mum, dad, best friend, and it's always yourself.
Totally.
Because if you are your own best friend, you're going to have so much more energy, you'll feel so much better about yourself, so that you can give all of that energy to your mum, to your partner, to like everyone. When you're your own best friend, you're so much more positive day to day, and you can give that to other people.
Totally. Just staying on that as well, like the whole best friend thing. Like I like the way it kind of, when I heard it kind of shifted my mindset as well, because when I heard the guy, it was actually a TikTok that I heard, and I saved it, and it was like, you wouldn't call your best friend that, and I thought about my best friends, and I thought about like the things I say to myself, and I thought about me saying it to my best friends, like yourself, like Fraz, like Dale, like Ryan, and I was like, I would never do that, and it just kind of made me like, so why are you saying it to yourself? They're friends with me for a reason. So that's what's been helping me for sure. Totally.
Amazing. This is one that I put on my story not too long ago, and that is not going your food shop hungry. Now, this is it's one that I actually learned from Modern Wisdom, from Chris Williamson. This, to be fair, quite a lot of life hacks that I've learned about have been from that as well. He done quite like a life hacks series almost, and this is one I learned off him, and I was like, that is so simple but so smart. And it was, don't do your food shop hungry, and it just something that I will always do. If I'm about to go my food shop and I'm starving, or like in the past, you just pick up things that you don't need. It's your hungry brain talking to you.
It's that little bakery looks extra palatable once you go in.
110%. Like you like realistically, you can't control your brain when it's feeling certain ways.
Yeah, totally.
It's very hard to be aware of that in that moment in time when you are absolutely ravenous. You've not ate in 4 hours, and you're going into a shop filled with so much temptation. And you will you'll buy the things, and you might not eat it at that moment in time, but then you'll take it home. It'll be in the cupboards. It'll be there when you're hungry again at night time. So it's buying the things when you're starving is a bad idea. So to go off of the back of that, and an important thing that I do, I literally done it the last week because I was starving. Went in, there's always the food to go at the front. I bought some sushi, some chicken, and some fruit, and I didn't eat. I literally bought it, went out to my car and ate it by myself. Sat there for 10 minutes or whatever, then went in and done my food shop, or 5 minutes or whatever. And thinking about that years ago, I would have been like, shut up, I'm not doing that. But it generally helped. I went in and had it and done my usual food shop as I would when I'm not hungry. And,
That's class. That's a huge life hack. That's incredible. And I've done that before as well. I've definitely done that before as well. Like, it's so easy to go in, like, because it's like something that you do, like, in the, like, that kind of part of the day where, like, you've maybe not ate, like, maybe after work or something like that, so you're like, oh, I'm glad I'm hungies, hungies. and then it's so much harder to kind of not go towards, as I say, the little bakery or something that's extra palatable. So I think that's top class. I totally agree. Right, so moving into the next one, this is something that me and you do a lot, and I actually didn't do this as much until I actually met you. We spoke a little bit about this in the sanctuary. I remember we spoke a little bit about this, and it is reading. I think that ever since I've started reading, I've learned so much. I think it's down to, like, obviously what I'm reading. I feel like talking about reading, yeah, you can be reading like other things, but for me, the productivity hack, the life hack is reading something that you want to learn about and that you value. And ever since I've been doing that, you put me on to chasing excellence, mate. That changed the way I think. It literally changed the way I think when it comes to, like, maybe like competing in sports or even just like day-to-day things, because it brings like a sports mentality into the day-to-day things, if that makes sense. So I'd say reading is one way that I start my day, and one way where I learn things and kind of develop my whole, like, kind of grasp on life. So reading is a huge part for me.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's off the back of that is the importance of reading things that you want to read about as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, me and you were obviously very into, like, self-development, self-improvement. So reading things like that are important, but you're learning how to love to read first.
Yeah.
I think it was Naval Ravikant who said, read what you love until you love to read. I think it is. It's so important because, like, well, there's probably, this could be a full podcast in itself as to the books that we've read that have had an impact on us. That's probably a good episode for the future.
Yeah, see that in 2 weeks.
Maybe that's a good idea. Let's rhyme off 2 or 3 that we've either read recently or have had a big impact on us. One for me, off the top of my head, there's one called Man's Search for Meaning. I think you would probably like that as well, by Viktor Frankl, and it's like, it's like very deep, but it's like amazing for realising how life works. And it's a guy who survived the Holocaust, and he's a psychiatrist, and he talks about how important your mindset and purpose is in life, and if he wasn't a psychiatrist and he hadn't learned about all this, he would probably be dead right now. Mm-hmm. But what kept him going was the purpose of life outside of Auschwitz, and it's like it's an incredible read. That one off the top of my head. Obviously, you said Chasing Excellence there. You want to go on a bit about that?
Chasing Excellence is probably, I've not read so many books, but it's the best book that I've ever read, and that's just down to kind of, I think it's just kind of, it was there for me when I needed to learn about these things. Yeah. It speaks a lot about kind of how you kind of deal with adversity and kind of what your mentality should be, not just approaching sport but approaching life. Yeah. And I think that I was coming into my marathon in Malaga. I love to speak about this, and I was reading it on the flight, and I was actually reading about the kind of whole embrace adversity chapter. I'm pretty sure it was the embrace adversity chapter, and one of the I give that book to the performance I put down in Malaga, because I had a great time. There was no part of me that was struggling in it, and I really do put it down to the way I was thinking, put it down to my mental side. Yeah. So every single time that I would kind of turn a corner, this is what Ben Bergeron talks about. It's don't expect the best scenario, expect every scenario. And the way you do that is, like, for me, I implemented it by, when I would come to this kind of bit where I could see a corner but I couldn't see what's round it, I would think to myself, expect the biggest hill. And when I would turn that corner and I would see that there was a small decline, I would feel like a huge sense of relief, But if I was to turn the corner, I would be prepared for it as well. Like I'm thinking in that mentality of expecting every scenario, so I know how to approach it, if that makes sense. So just little things like that. That's what's kind of changed my mindset. There's so much more. I'd like to do a podcast about that, to kind of speak about a lot more.
Cool. Let's do that. Let's schedule that in for a podcast. Our top, however many books. And we'll go into a little bit more detail with it. This leads right into my next life hack, which is a Kindle. So I bought a Kindle. In fact, I think Jenna maybe got me it for my Christmas one year. I'm going to say 2022 or 2023. Anyways, it's an unbelievable investment. I think it's maybe £80 or something like that. However, pretty much every book, because it's not a physical book, it's an e-reader, it's like a third of the price of normal books. So you get 3 books for the price of a physical book. But also, one of the main things for me is something that Harry Young talked about on episode 3, was how much information, like you can read all the books, but you can't implement a lot.
Yeah.
I've got an app that links to Kindle. It's called Readwise, and it's like it's sort of one of the best things ever. I think I pay £3 a month for it or something like that. But what it does is, if there's something that really resonates with me or something that I want to implement, I just highlight it on my Kindle and it automatically sends to Readwise. So I've got the Readwise app on my phone. If I'm ever looking for inspiration, for content, for anything, it goes straight to there, and it kind of blocks it out for each book as well that I've read in the past. Now I've read over 50 books on it, so I can then go into it, say I've not read a book in 2 years, but like I think about, oh, that's a topic that I could be, like, I've got a problem in my life right now that relates to the book that I've read before, but I can't remember anything from it. I just go into Readwise, click on it, and then I've got all the, like, everything that I've highlighted, and it's just like sometimes like the way someone says something, a certain sentence, just like changes your mind on something.
Yep.
And that's like a huge part of reading. Reading is just reading someone else's thoughts. That's what it is, and their perspective on life, on another thing. That's why it's so powerful, because you start to change your perspective on life because you read a certain thing. Like, that's what information really is. And yeah, Kindle Readwise is the app that links to it. Like, unbelievable investment.
That's top class. That sounds good. It's class. Right, so getting into the next one, both of us kind of resonate with this one. We do this quite a lot when we're tracking calories. So it's proactive tracking calories. So that basically means like tracking your calories in MyFitnessPal or whatever app you use before you've actually eaten the calories or the food. And that basically just kind of gives you the structure, and you know exactly what you need to do. And also, like, I know there's a lot of people listening to this that can probably resonate with this as well. Like, once you've like ate something and then you come to the end of the day, you realise that you've not tracked any of your food, and you need to go through, for example, like 2,500 calories worth of tracking. You're like, that's the last thing I want to do when I'm trying to wind down for bed. So proactively tracking your calories just means that it's always put in there, and you can kind of see exactly what you've still to have, and you don't really worry about that at the end of the day and stuff like that, or what kind of when you're eating.
Yeah,
for example.
Yeah, so I often tell people about this and how important it is for like the whole day. Not only does it like lay out exactly what you're having, but it just takes away the stress of doing it as you go. And again, when you get to night time, you're like, fuck, I've not tracked at all today. Like,
I've not tracked that 7,000 calories.
So I always recommend either doing it the morning of your day, or even more advanced level, the night prior, because then it literally just lays out exactly what you're having. You know, like if you are weighing things out as well, like you have the measurements there that are going to fit your calorie intake and your macro intake. So it's there already. Like, and it eases your mind. It's like that's what you're having for breakfast. That's what you're having for lunch. Might be something to do with like the Google Calendar thing. You have a little bit of leeway. You have a little bit of space for snacks throughout the day, but have at least your 3 main meals, what you're having there: breakfast, lunch, dinner. Another hack on top of that with MyFitnessPal, make sure you save it as a meal. I was speaking to someone the other day and they didn't know about this. So save it as a meal. Like, so for example, if you're having the same breakfast or similar breakfast, lunch, dinners, save it as a meal, and then all you need to go into is just add food, add meal, and then like the full meal is there, like spaghetti bolognese for your dinner or whatever. Yeah, big hack.
Top class.
Last one for me is ChatGPT. Like it's probably something you've heard all about, but I've spoke to quite a lot of people about it, and some people still don't use it. Like I'll use it more often than Google now because
For all your content.
for the questions for all the podcasts. No, for a lot of things, even if it is just like asking like a question that like I'm curious about.
Totally.
Like it can do so much more than you think it can as well, and because if you log into it, it learns more about you the more you ask questions.
Yeah.
So like if I'm struggling with a certain thing and I'm telling them 2 weeks ago like what I was struggling with and like what I'm looking to do or whatever. See 2 weeks later, if I ask a different question, it will relate it back to the last question.
Right, okay,
So
that's mad.
So it's like your own account almost.
That's insane.
So yeah, ChatGPT is a massive one, like for so many things. Like even if you, like we were saying the other day, like we're maybe going to do like a tournament, like a paddle tournament for all the members. Like see if you just put in, we've got this amount of courts, we've got this amount of people, make me up a round robin for paddle. It will like do it all for you within 10 seconds, whereas you would spend an hour doing it yourself, or longer than that maybe, because you've never done it before.
Totally.
So there's like it does tasks for you that like you don't have to do.
It's class. So good.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right, so my last one is something that you put me onto. I actually didn't know it was a thing until like a couple months ago, and that is Opal. For everyone that kind of doesn't know what Opal is, it's basically like a kind of blocker on your phone for apps. So if you're basically spending too much time on social media, which I was, and that's why I've got it. It basically blocks the apps that you use that you normally go towards when you're trying to kind of scroll social media and kind of doom scroll. So it will cover, for me, it is Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, all those, and it'll kind of give you like a schedule of how long it's going to block it for. So mine starts from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you can just get like different levels of like effort levels. So you could do like medium, hard, and very hard, things like that. And I think that it's a great thing because it's just keeping me more off my phone. It's allowing me to be a little bit more present when I'm like doing the things in life. Like I feel like a lot of the time when I didn't have it, I would just be kind of scrolling mindlessly, either in my house or even when I'm out a walk or even when I'm with my friends. These are the times where you should be like really taking in and taking advantage of, and I feel like having Opal has allowed me to kind of step back and actually stay off my phone and take advantage of those times. Obviously I know that you've got it as well. How do you feel like that Opal's helped you? When did you actually get that?
Got so when I worked with my mental performance coach, it was them who recommended it, because it was the exact same thing. Like I was getting caught too much on my phone, like on Instagram or TikTok, whatever it was, and like you are going to mindlessly go on it. Like these apps are designed unbelievably. Like the algorithm is literally to suit exactly what you want to see. Like that's why we spend so much time on it. Like so what it did was just bring awareness to each time I was going on my phone. So for the listeners who, like, what happens is if you go to click on Instagram, for example, and you have the blocker on, it just comes up like blocked, and like mindlessly you didn't even know that you were going on to Instagram. You didn't even mean to go onto Instagram, you just clicked on it to see what's happening, to get a dopamine rush. So it does that. So you're talking about the difficulty levels, so from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m, so most like the time where I sleep, that is like I can't get on Instagram whatsoever. Like even if like I turn my phone off, back on, like I can't get on it. And like people say, oh, what if it's an emergency or whatever? Like who needs to go on Instagram if it was an emergency? Like
I need to scroll. Yeah. I need to see this.
Yeah. So that's like another thing, and it, like again, it's that future you. It's saving future future you from scrolling, really.
Yeah, feeling
it's
shitty.
just like preempting it, and yeah, it's again, what is it, like £4 a month or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
And like the difference of like the investment of that towards the time that it gives back to you is unbelievable.
Totally.
It's like
Tells you, man.
invaluable, your time. Like
Yeah.
it's a ticking clock, like constantly. So
See, one thing it does as well, like it shows you how much you're on it.
yeah,
And when I seen it, man, I was like, whoa. I'm like, I was like shocked.
yeah.
One thing I would say as well, I heard this on a podcast yesterday.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
See in America,
Uh-huh.
right? They are on they're on their phone for like an average of an average American is on their phone for 8 hours of the day.
Yeah.
See the average amount of how much an American sleeps is 6.5.
Yeah.
6.5 hours.
It's,
So they're on their phone more than they're actually getting sleep.
yeah, it's it was actually, I don't know if it was a podcast or a YouTube video I was listening to, but it was like bringing awareness as to what that is, and it was like, go and look at your screen time right now and say it's 6 hours a day, for example, which is obviously less than the Americans, but say it's 6 hours a day, times that by 365, and then divide it by the days. Like the amount of days that it's actually spending across your,
Bro, it's
like,
mad.
is what's 6 minutes? That's like a sixth of your whole year is on your phone. When you think about it like
It's
that,
insane.
and yeah, like some people are more, some people are less, yeah, but it's important to actually be aware of it. So if you're listening to this and you want a bit of a shock, go and do that exercise. Like listen, like go into screen time just now, have a look, compare it, times it by 365, and then you'll see how many hours you spend across
Another thing I heard as well was, it was so true. See, if there was a drug that was going about, the if you were to take it, that you couldn't stop staring at your hand, people would be like, keep that the fuck away from me. Keep that the fuck away from me. And and that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's what it is. If you put it like that, people will be like, oh, what the fuck, get that the fuck. Like, you know? Because that's what it is. Sometimes I heard someone say that and I was like, you know what, it's true. It's true. I know you get some beneficial things from your phone, of course, but think about how much beneficial things you get from it. Probably like, it's not even 50-50.
Nah.
It's probably like 80-20. It's like 80-20, you know? So like, and it's so true. It's so true.
And we're part of that 20% beneficial.
100%. Totally. If you see our podcast on your phone, then obviously that's probably the only thing that's productive on your phone.
Yeah, like, subscribe, and
share. Like, subscribe and all that good stuff. Like, post notifications and all that, share that. But yeah, that is us.
Yeah, that is us. I thought that was brilliant.
I think that was top class. I think that I've definitely took some from you. We spoke quite a lot about them. But I already know exactly what I'm doing. As soon as we come off this podcast, I'm getting the eye mask, I'm getting the mouth tape, and I'm also getting the alarm clock.
Like, a lot of these things are like either like free or cheap, like
Totally.
or cheap. Like they're not like massive, like big investments. So like implementing them, even if like that's one thing. If you're listening to this and the one or two that resonated with you most, implement them. Try not implement every single one.
Totally.
Because
it just becomes an overload of things, and it becomes you going from 0 to 100. So applying 1 to 2 into your day is going to be beneficial, and then maybe in the next few weeks, once you've kind of built that habit, then you can start to add a little bit more. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be adding 1 or 2 to my routine.
Episode 10 done.
Episode 10.
How many more until we get the?
We've got another 11 to go.
21.
21.
We've got that.
We've got that totally.
That'll be summer.
This is going for ever.
Yeah. We've got some exciting guests coming up as well.
Can't wait.
Some mega exciting guests. So we will see you all next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Pleasure.
If you share it with a friend, that'd be amazing. We love to see shares, Instagram, etc. as well.
One thing I would say is as well, I absolutely love the feedback on the podcast, like when I've had like quite a lot of messages of people kind of like saying like they've took something away from the podcast, or they've really enjoyed it, or they just they really enjoy it, and I think that makes me feel so good. That makes me feel amazing, and actually makes my week. So if you have got a little bit of feedback, or you're really enjoying the podcast, then please send over a message to me or Anton, because it makes our day. It does.
Yeah. Me or Aiden, because we both screenshot it anyways and send each
Yeah,
other it
yes,
because it gets so
yes,
buzzing.
Yes, 100%. It's going to both of us because we screenshot it and send it to each other. So, I appreciate the love, and long may it continue.
Let's go.
Sick. Oh, there we go. That.